good? Leekautorepair. Of course I got a video for y'all. I always got videos for y'all. I'm working on a 2006 Buick LaCrosse. If you guys tune into my shit on a regular, you know that I did a live feed on me removing the transmission, so the transmission is back in and everything and shit. So I'm heading down home stretch and shit. So pretty much what I got left is to I gotta fill up the transmission, but before I gotta fill up the transmission, I want to replace the transmission filter and put a new gasket on it. So this video, pretty much in the 2006 Buick LaCrosse, whatever year it starts and ends at, I'll be sure to elaborate in the comment section. I mean, in the description. And yeah, I want to show you guys how to replace the transmission filter and add fluid pretty much. So make sure you guys hit that like button. And before I begin, actually, this is my first time eating today, so I'm gonna eat some food first. So yeah, give me 1 second. All right, y'all. First things first. This is what we gonna do. Well, this is what the fuck you gonna do. This pan, you have access to all of the bolts to remove the pan out. Is, I don't know, got to be at least like 20 to 30 fucking 10mm bolts. You working on a different car, you wanted to watch this video, you might run into a problem where you got the exhaust in the way, you got the subframe in the way, you got a cross member in the way. Either way, you got to take off shit to get to it sometimes. This one is real easy on this car because I got full access to all of my fucking bolts. So I'm gonna go ahead and you might be using hand tools. Me, I'm using power tools because power tools get the job done a lot fast, and you fucking need power tools when you're on flat rate. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking all the bolts out. Work your way around. You can hit it in a star pattern if you want, but how you gonna form a fucking star pattern in this ugly ass fucking shape and shit? So yeah, just pretty much just start taking shit off, and when you get down to your last 2 or 3 bolts, leave those in, because you'll have a gap in between the pan while the fluid will fucking gush out and shit. So just go ahead and start taking off shit. So don't matter where you start at. I want to set these bolts down where I can find them. If you lose one, that's your ass, unless you got multiple bolts. I got a drawer full of fucking bolts and shit. I always come up with extra shit all the time. Not all the time, but when you get dealing with fucking, you know, you get engines and transmissions and shit from the junkyard, you tend to get fucking extra shit laying around. So go ahead and finish. But if you did lose a bolt, you can always match one up and put it in. That's what I was trying to say in the first place. Man, I got something in my beard. And when you're working from this, holding your tool up like this and shit, this shit gets real tiring too. So sometimes you gotta pace yourself. Sometimes I rush it, but it's a workout. And I'm pretty sure you ain't worked out this week, so you need it anyway. Alright, so I got one more bolt. I know I said 2 or 3, but fuck it, I don't give a shit. So go ahead and raise this. Let me get a shop towel, rag or something. Got a rag. Go ahead and... Alright, so when you get to this point, when you get down to your last bolt, and you got the pan hanging like that, fluid should be already gushing out and shit. The fluid don't come out, well, for me, fluid not coming out because this is I did a transmission swap pretty much. So the place we get our transmissions from, they tend to take out the, sometimes they don't remove the filter, they just drain it. Sometimes they do, whatever. But when I get my shit, I always change the torque converter seal, the fittings for the cooler lines, and put a new filter and gasket in the transmission. So it's part of my maintenance and shit. So all of my fluid is out, and I'm pretty much ready to take this chumpy out. So if you want to finish taking it off by hand, hit it with the gun, it's up to you. My gun probably not gonna fit in here unless I adjust the oil caddy. So give me 1 second. I'm like right there, literally. Alright, what the fuck? Hurry up. Too many fucking threads. Alright, got it out. Carefully lower it. Make sure it's level. Pour your rest of your oil out. Here's your gasket. Now I don't know what type of gasket you're going to be using. Some of these gaskets are reusable. So depending on what type of gasket they put in that fucking, the box I got that I'll show you in a second, I could be using this all over again. For the most part, I'm just going to sit this off to the side. Make sure it don't get bent or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and finish lowering this pan down. And let me drain some of this oil out. So you can see, oh shit, drain it on the fucking ground. Alright, so let me, yeah, that way. So this is the pan look like. Pay attention to it. Make sure it ain't got like debris in it. Engine pans and transmission pans, the manufacturer tend to put like a magnet in it, whereas it can catch like, you know, you'll see like metal shavings and shit around it. On this one, I don't see any metal. That's fucking good. You see metal, then you know you probably got a problem, or you could have a problem in the near future. So it's best to keep an eye out on that shit. So check your surface out. Make sure it ain't got like a lot of dirt on here, because this is where your gasket rests in between the fucking bottom of the engine and this pan right here. It goes in between, so you want to make sure the surface is cool. So go ahead and take a clean rag, and what I do is I just wipe it off. You can, if you want, clean this whole fucking pan. I'm not doing that fucking shit. I'm only cleaning because there ain't no dirt in there. I'm only cleaning the surface that the gasket rests on. So I'm gonna get that cleaned up and put that off to the side. And then if you can see all up in here, let me get my camera. So this is the bottom of the pan right here. Well, no, this is the transmission filter right here. My pan is right here. And what I was talking about, if you didn't see, that pretty much what I did was, you know, I took a rag and I pretty much just wiped all around, you know, the area that the gasket rests on. So we got that. All right, we cool. So next, what you see right here, you're going to do the same thing to the surface right here. Just get that cleaned up. If it's dirt, grab some Scotch-Brite and clean it off. If you don't know what Scotch-Brite is, I'll show you guys in a second. Just wait. All right, Scotch-Brite is this, as you can see right here, Scotch-Brite, because we can read, right? So sometimes I cut it in half, cut it in half, make a little piece of something, and I just pretty much this helps me remove any debris, any corrosion, anything build up against the surface, the mating surface for the gasket, without fucking damaging the fucking surface. You could use a angle, like, what is it, like a die grinder or like a fucking cookie pad bullshit or whatever. You could use that if you want. That's up to you. But if you got this available, I prefer this more than I prefer, you know, a die grinder, you know, with the cookie pad bullshit. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that back. And you wanna make sure you finish cleaning up your surface. So I'm not gonna go over the whole thing on how to fucking clean it. That's up to you, but make sure the surface on the engine side is clean, and make sure the surface on the pan itself is good. Those two are good, then you good. So go ahead and get that cleaned up, but let's hold off on that step. No, I'm jumping the gun. I don't know why I told you guys to do that at first. It's very stupid. Once you get the pan off, the very first fucking thing you're gonna do, you're gonna remove this fucking transmission filter. So let me put my Scotch-Brite down and I'll show you guys. Some of these transmission filters, they're held in with a bolt, like a 10mm bolt or something like that. It could be smaller. I don't know your issue. I don't know your make and model. On these ones, if I can remember, they're not held in by anything. They just rest in on its own. So if you want, just start wiggling it out until it comes out. I got one hand, so don't mind me. Uh-oh. I think his hair is cracking. Actually, I want to put this back on the tripod, and we're going to finish from there because I need two hands. So give me 1 second. Like I said, I'm going to wiggle this out. Sometimes you twist it, wiggle it. Be careful not to get all this fucking fluid on you. Don't yank at it too hard. Let me get a pry bar. Even though I don't recommend using a pry bar for this type of job, but for me, I'm going to do it because sometimes the neck of it gets stuck in it. So, got it off. Alright, so now, got that off. So, it's going to be something else I want to fucking show you, but we'll get to that in a second. But for the most part, this is your transmission filter, and it ain't nothing to fucking talk about. It's a fucking filter. So let me show you the new filter. All right, the new filter is Duralast. You can use any brand you want. I don't know what fucking parts stores you're getting your fucking parts from, but we got this from AutoZone, because AutoZone is the only one I know that sell fucking Duralast, right? Common sense. So pull it out of the box. It always come in like, won't throw the box on the ground. It always come with like a little extra packaging, plastic bullshit. Pull that out, and there's only one thing you really need to pay attention. Two things you need to pay attention to, or focus on in this fucking kit. The filter itself, match it up. Make sure it look like the other filter. I can already tell because I done this shit a bunch of times. I know what the fuck it look like. So that's that. Now they always come with like an extra piece. Sorry guys for the shitty camera angle. Work with me, but it always add like this piece thing, know some type of seal or whatever for it, or this pretty much keeps the transmission filter inside of the transmission, keeps it in place pretty much. So this pretty much goes in here like that, and well, you could tap it in the transmission first, where you can see where it rests at. I'll show you in a second, or you can leave it on the filter. Most of the time, if it's stuck on the transmission side, I'll leave this piece on the fucking transmission. May keep it. You could throw it away if you want. I'll probably keep it after this fucking video because I may need it for something else. So I'll show you what it looks like. But if it's already stuck on the transmission side, I'll leave it in there because it can be a pain in the ass to take out. So let me take that off, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like when it's stuck on the transmission side. Okay, so we see it right there. This is already in there. It's literally flush against the surface. It's like, you know how when you driving in like seals, like a cam seal, crank seal, or torque converter seal. Yeah, this motherfucker is in there, but it ain't a seal, but it's a seal. Yeah, let's just go. I'm gonna figure out the exact name for it, but I'll just know the installer part when I need it. So, and I know what it's for. So it's already in there. We're gonna keep it in there, so that's good. So now I can put the filter back on, and to get the filter back on, it's real simple. Like I said, make sure it's mashed up, make sure it's good. The same way you took it off is the same way you put it back on. Pay attention to the shape of the way things go. It can only go one way. You can't fuck up. So go ahead and just sit it in there, and when it's in there, just give it like a little push. And it will kind of sit in like that, but I want to sit it back on the tripod and get it up in there some more. Like I said, it just sits up, it rests in there, make sure it's flush. Alright, you can twist it in there, but make sure when you kind of twisting it a little bit, like guide it back up in there, and you'll feel it slip in there, and you'll feel it seat. So this one is already seated. It's good, it's flush. That's that. So next, like I said, get a clean rag. Want to clean up the surface, make sure it's dry. You're going to hit it all the way around. Like I said, if it's dirt, hit the scotch, get the Scotch-Brite. You know, hit the surface up. But this one is cool, and I have a reusable gasket, so I'm debating if I should use that gasket again. Because the gasket they give you in the kit is real fucking shitty. When I say shitty, you need like Permatex held in place. I mean, use Permatex to keep the gasket in place so the bitch won't move and fuck around. Let me show you. Where's the box at? Where's my gasket at too? I just had everything. What the fuck? Fuck. Alright, 1 second, y'all. This is the gasket they give you. This, reusable, versus this shitty ass fucking gasket. Which one should I use? It's up to you. I could still use this reusable, but I ain't gonna be that bored today. I'm gonna just go ahead and use this. So while I'm using it, I'm gonna go get some fucking Permatex and apply it to the surface so that way this can stay in one place and not move around and not give me a hard time while I'm fucking installing it. So that's what the fuck I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna show you guys and shit. I really wanna use this old fucking gasket, this reusable fucking gasket. I'm seriously debating if I should use it. You know what? I changed my fucking mind because I want to make my installation a lot fucking simple. This is a used fucking transmission. I already eyed this up. I already know this is fucking good and shit. So I'm going to reuse the reusable gasket. How about that? Because I ain't got time. I seriously ain't got time for stupid shit. Stupid shit. Let me go ahead and run this rag around it. Clean up the surface. Make sure it's dry. Bam, bam. Make sure you didn't bend it. We didn't bend it, right? So, hit this pan a little bit too. This joint got a like a lot. I know y'all don't see, y'all can't see what I'm doing, but it's common fucking sense. So, what am I doing? What am I doing? All right. So it's gonna, shit gonna be like this, right? All right, cool. So you ready to put the pan back on? Grab a couple bolts. 2 is fine, 3 is fine, 4 is fine. I'm only gonna grab 2. So I got 2 bolts, 10mm bolts. I'm gonna put this pan back on. If I can remember the way it came off, which is this way. Go ahead and drop in a bolt through a hole, through the fucking through the pan, through the fucking gasket at the same time, like this. So go ahead, line your hose up. Go ahead and start a bolt. Start it a little bit. You got multiple bolts in, like 2 bolts, because one ain't gonna assure that it's lined up. Multiple bolts will. So I already got 2 in place, so my gasket is lined up. So now I'm gonna move this oil caddy out of the way and start tightening the pan. And when I'm using my gun and I'm dealing with, I'm sorry, I'm on camera. When I'm got my gun and I'm dealing with small bolts like transmission bolts, I mean bolts for the transmission pan or engine pan, valve cover gasket, anything that has a seal with a small bolt, don't drive in the bolt too deep because you could ruin the gasket. So I'm using power tools, but I'm lightly driving it in. And when I'm done getting all my bolts in, I'm gonna go over it again with hand tools. When I say hand tools, a regular ratchet and socket setup. Now some people, it's been times I use the gun to tighten this, like literally, but I don't want you guys to do that. It's bad practice. I don't want you guys getting that from me. I know what I'm doing when I'm doing shit like that, but I don't want you fucking up your own car. You get what I'm saying? All right, maybe got like 5, 6 more bolts left. Let's get this 2 in. You could do this in your driveway too. Definitely could do this in your fucking driveway without a fucking problem. If you take this to the dealership, if I can remember from working at a dealership, because this will probably go to fucking Chevy, because it ain't that many Buicks around where I'm at. It's a few Buicks, but it ain't that many. How you doing?
Okay, let's run the ladder trap 10 minutes.
Yes, you can. At the dealer, they charge it would have charged maybe an hour and a half, an hour to hour and a half to up to 2 hours max on labor for doing this, plus the fluid they use. So you definitely be paying a couple $100 for this type of job. Be careful not to cross thread. All right, so now I'm gonna get hand tools. All right, I'm about to be a little savage right now. Don't use this, a 1/2-inch ratchet. Use a 3/8. Now my tool cart is really junky, and I don't feel like digging in there and looking for a fucking 3/8, 10mm fucking socket and a fucking ratchet. So I use my impact 10mm, my 1/2-inch, and my 1/2-inch ratchet. So I'm gonna use it that way, but I know when tight is tight. So I'm good. I've been doing this for a while. But all you gonna have to do is, well, let me get this one in, get that one in. Hold on. But you're gonna follow everything the way I did it is the way you're gonna do it. You're gonna be a lot more fucking careful and a lot smarter, of course. So I'm gonna start at anywhere in the corner. I'm gonna go around it because I already went around it once. Go around it again. I always go around total of 3 times because each time you tighten a bolt, that'll adjust the tightness of another bolt on the other side of the fucking pan. You get what I'm saying, if I made sense? So go over it, just snug it with your hand, just like that. As soon as it stops, you stop. Real shit. You know how when you trying to, round up, you trying to get third base loaded with a girl, and she move her hand out the way and she be like, stop. That's how you stop, just like that. As soon as it turns, stop, cut yourself off. So go ahead and tighten it up. So this is my second time. We do it in a crisscross pattern. Like I said, this ain't formed in a good shape for you to be crisscross. So, but you can hit maybe one per corner or something like that, whatever. So I went over it twice already. I'm gonna go over it one more time, just to make sure it's good. I got a burp, sorry, excuse me. Like I said, when it stops, you stop. So I'm just checking it. Just to make sure I ain't got a couple more, eyeballs a little loose. So far I'm good. This shit hurts your hand, like, you're real tired. Feel like you went to the fucking gym and shit. Sometimes you gotta switch up your arms, your hands, whatever. All right, we good, we Gucci. So I went around all of them. So, next what you wanna do is, you're gonna take a shop rag and parts cleaner and clean up the bottom of your pan, unless you wanna be that backyard mechanic. You're just unprofessional. You got your shit looking all dirty. So go ahead and get it cleaned up. You can hit it with an air blower, hit it with a, wipe it off with a rag. It's up to you. I ain't getting all deep in this. Just make sure the bottom of the pan is dry. That's for the most part. Because you're gonna want it dry for when, you bring the car down, fill it back up. You wanna make sure your shit ain't leaking. You don't wanna see pre-existing oil that you didn't clean up. Go ahead and get that cleaned up. All right, so the pan look fresh, pan look good. Now next, since I'm all good, I'm all Gucci, I'm gonna lower the car and I'm gonna fill up the transmission through the dipstick, tube. Most transmissions, we'll probably get into it as soon as I start building up videos on doing transmissions and shit. You'll notice that some transmissions you can't really, they have no dipstick. They have dipstick tube, or some of them don't have a dipstick tube, whatever. You can't add fluid to it. Some of them you gotta add it. They give you a drain hole and a fill hole, but they both be at the damn bottom. So technically you gotta fill it up from the bottom. I did that on the newer Nissans. Some Fords, you gotta drive it in literally through the bottom of the fucking pan and shit. I mean, you gotta fill it up from the bottom of the pan. They have a special tool for it. It's all types of ways you can fill up a fucking transmission. But for the most part, for this year make and model, to drain the transmission fluid, there is no drain plug. You gotta take off the pan if you want to drain the fluid in the 06 on the engines, or 3.8 3800, or the Chevy Impala, or the Park Ave, or the Buick LaCrosse, whatever got a 3.8 in it. That's that. So let me lower the car down. Let me show you guys how to fill it up. Next, gonna locate your dipstick. The dipstick, if you can see, is different from the your engine oil dipstick. Some manufacturers, they come up with the same color. Some of them, they put two different colors. This one, you got two different colors, so you can know the difference. So if you see yellow, that ain't the right one. If you see black, this is the right one. So pull it up. Don't come up, twist it around, break up the seal a little bit, because the guy probably got stuck, the O-ring. Pull it back up, and yeah, just pull it out, and that's that. So it should be empty. You should see nothing on the dipstick because we emptied it. Next, to fill the transmission up, I'm going to be using a long, extra long dipstick. I'll call it a funnel. I call it a transmission funnel. It's not called a transmission funnel, but I always use this for transmissions or those hard to reach power steering pumps, just like the one on this model that's located down at the bottom, if I can remember, because that's where it is. So go ahead and stick it into the dipstick tube, and then next, I'm gonna move this light up. This shit is in my fucking way. Sorry about that, guys. Funnel is extra long, but that's cool. And this right here, this picture in this picture, it's a Dexron. You could be using what? Let me tell y'all what it is. You could be using Dexron 5 or 6. It don't matter. You could use it, but make sure you got Dexron because that's what it calls for. If you got questions and shit, Google it, or when you go to your parts store, tell them what type of transmission fluid you need. But Dexron is Dexron, and it's not Mercon. Go ahead and pour it in. And I'm gonna, since my transmission is, it was dry and it wasn't really none of the torque converter, I want to start with 5 quarts. This thing could take 7 quarts, it could take 8 quarts, it could take 9. I'm not sure exactly. I didn't look it up on all data on the specifications as far as the capacity and the fluid type and shit. So if what will be good for you in this case, since you know you're doing it yourself, make sure you take note before you drain the fluid out how much fluid came out of the transmission, and you pour that amount back in there, and then just check it from there. Make sure your level is good. If you gotta add some, add some. If not, then you're good. But for the most part, I did a transmission swap, so I'm going to start off by putting 5 quarts in it. And after I get 5 quarts in it, I'm going to start it up and I'm going to run it through my gears. I'll show you how to do that in a second. I'll start from park and work them all the way down to the low gear. So yeah, let me go ahead and begin to fill it up. Pour it slow because this shit will spill back out, and then you'll just have a mess everywhere. But for the most part, these extra long funnels are pretty good with scenarios like this. So go ahead and pour it in. Pay attention, make sure it don't spill out of the dipstick tube. So I'm like halfway there. Alright, almost there. Thank God the compressor shut off. So I'm pretty much empty. So now, leave the funnel in, because gravity does what to fluid, right? So you want to let it go down to the pan, so that way when you take out the funnel, you ain't got shit dripping everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and start the engine. Make sure I plug out my my battery cable, because I didn't do that when I should have. Like I said, I did a transmission swap, so I had a big ass job to do. So cable tight, so I'm gonna go ahead and fire it up. This will be my first time starting it since I did the swap. Ed, if you want, you can just stand it right there. Anywhere in your space.
You want it here or you want it in the back?
Put it back. So I'm gonna go ahead and fire it. If I can find my keys. So let it run. I'm gonna check underneath, make sure I ain't got no leaks. So that's the most important part. Make sure you ain't got no leaks. I don't really see nothing dripping. Sometimes you gotta give it a minute. While you got the engine running, make sure you go through the gears, start off that part. Half a second later, go down to reverse. Another half a second again. Go down to neutral, half a second, go down to drive, and you can go back up, and you're gonna cycle it up at least I will cycle it like 3 to 4 times. So you work your way slowly down to from park to the lowest gear, and then slowly back up again in half a second increments. And another note too, transmission fluid needs to be at a certain temperature. For the most part, when your engine is warm, so will the transmission fluid be. Sometimes that's not always the case. Transmission fluid takes longer to get, it takes longer for the temperature to rise versus engine oil. Engine oil gets hot fast. Transmission fluid takes a little bit longer, but eventually it does get up to temperature. So give it a minute if you want to hook up your scan tool, check out the transmission temp gauge. You can do that, sometimes I do that, but for the most part, pay attention to the temp gauge on the dash. When it gets in the middle, you good. So I'm gonna run it through the gears and I wanna make sure it's good. Alright, so I ran through my gears. I cycled it 3 times from park to the lowest gear, from the lowest gear back to park. So next, let me adjust my tripod. I'm going to raise the car and I'm going to check underneath to make sure I don't have any leaks. Alright, so far so good. I don't see no damn leaks. I'm good. I'm Gucci. I'm solid. You check my fittings because I put new fittings in here. They both good. I have 0 fucking leaks. I'm good. Alright. Now, yeah, that's that. So, I want to wait till it get up temperature. And when they get up temperature, I want to check the level again. Of course, I'm going to be adding more. I'm going to add more, but when I'm done that, I'll show you what the level on the dipstick should look like when it's properly filled. So give me a minute or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever. All right, guys. So I'll let I'm fumbling. This car has been running for at least like 20 minutes now. The car is warmed up, the needle's where it needs to be, thermostat is open, that type bullshit. So far I put in 8 quarts. I put in 8 quarts of transmission fluid. Actually, I take it back. I put in 9 quarts of transmission fluid. And who the fuck is texting me like that? So many text messages. You hear my phone going off like that? Oh, whatever. So I put a total of 9 quarts in here. And first I put in 5, and then you know, make sure you let it run. Make sure you let the engine run when you're filling it up. On initial fill up, you can pour it in when it's off. But to make sure the level is correct, to get the correct level and shit, engine has to be running. Shit has to be at the correct operating temperature and shit. So I make sure that. So I put 5 quarts in, went back, put in 2 more. Then I saw that it was still fucking low. After I done cycled the gears, every time I filled it up, I cycled through the gears like I showed you guys. So I'm up to a total of 9 quarts. I had added 9 quarts. 9 quarts is in here. So now I'm going to check the level. I already cycled it after I poured it in. I want to check the level, and if it's good, then we good. If not, then I'll have to add some. If it's too much, of course I'll have to open that pan back up again and let some out. Or I can use you know, a vacuum bleeder that I use for to bleed the vacuum. What I use for vacuum bleeding the brakes. I have a bleeder that I could break up something and stick the tube down inside of the pan and pull some of the fluid out. I can do it that way, but let's just check before I get into all of that. Mind you, my engine is running, so this is where we at with things. If you can see, I don't know if you can see good. I want to try to get this camera to focus. Sorry guys, I'm very, very sorry. If she can focus, I doubt it. Alright, so I couldn't get it to properly zoom, but I did add a picture so that way you can see. According to things, pretty much I'm right where I need to be. But I'm going to double check it again. If I got to add some, I got to add some. Either way, I'm where I'm at. I'm where I need to be. So let me check again. All right, it could use a little bit more. Teeny bit. Maybe like a few ounces and shit or something. Alright, got what I need. Alright, so I'm just gonna let that sit and do its thing. Let me put this damn picture down. So, we know where we need to be at with things and shit as far as level go. I'm not gonna sit here throughout the whole fucking job filming this shit because there's gonna be longer editing hours for me, and I don't want longer editing hours. So we know where the level needs to be at. It's no different than checking your engine level, except for the transmission has to be running. I mean, the engine has to be running. So, yeah, that's that. So I'll pretty much show you guys how to change out the transmission filter, along with the gasket, and how to top off your fluid, and which fluid to use. I'm working on a 2006 Buick LaCrosse 3.8 engine, a 3800 series engine. It's very similar, all engines exactly the same as this, the 3.8, 3800. What else do I need to elaborate on? Pretty much nothing. So like I said, I'll leave what year did this model start in and what year did it end, and make sure you guys leave some feedback in the comment section. If you don't like this video, it's too vulgar for you, too much profanity, hit the dislike button, because that's still feedback to me. If you like this video, hit the like button, and again, hit the subscribe button, and you guys see me on the next video.